Hello, Amy Falken here in California with Christopher Power in Thailand, and you're in Bangsaray. Is that how I pronounce it?
Mon- Once upon a time in Bangsaray, Thailand. Yes.
Ah, it sounds like the beginning of a great story. And we're having our conversations around the world. And the thing I'd like to ask you about is something we've talked about a little bit before, and and it involves, of course, great stories. And you know where I'm going with this. But the back in a long time ago, in one of your earlier in a YouTube video you did a long time ago, you were talking about how humanity made a deal to not blow itself up. And that was back in, I think you said it was that deal was made roughly like 1993. And then that you were talking about that some years later, that back in the early 90s, we said we weren't going to do that. But we are where we are now. But something else and we're in the middle of a lot of craziness, on the edge of so much. Everybody's unsettled by change, disruption, you name it. And one of the things you've spoken about with me frequently are the maps, that there are maps to a new paradigm. And I'd like you to share more about that. Can talk to us about the maps.
Okay. Just some background on what you said. Um, I remember I watched some of the videos from the ARC conference, which was Alliance for Responsible Citizenship, run by Jordan Peterson and a lot of other very smart people. And one of the themes they had was we're looking for a new story. And the thing I talked about in 1993 that people don't realise, because we are in the middle of chaos at the moment, and I'll get back
Yeah.
to that in a second. But the thing they don't realise is there was a writers' meeting, you might say, people writing the
Mm.
story, a creatives meeting in the early 90s. And the agreement was made that this wasn't going to be a disaster movie. It wasn't going to be we all end up blowing ourselves up like the legends of Atlantis, or, we don't go down the same old path of the Mongol invasions, pillaging the city and
Right.
burning it to the ground. That we were going to create a world that was truly new, not a better version of the current world, but a world that's truly new. And that decision was made by humanity. Now, if people are really committed to the disaster movie, they can move to the movie studio next door. They can go to another reality. But as far as we're concerned, this isn't going to happen in this world. Now, it doesn't mean we're not going to get to the edge of it, and there's damn good reasons why. And where we're at now is we're right on the edge. There's war in Ukraine, war in Palestine and Israel. There's many various wars in Africa going on. There's the Chinese and Taiwan. There's a lot going on just on that level, let alone complete breakdown of Western society is being attempted. Politics is being revealed for what it is, and it's getting worse the more you reveal it. Um, there has been a massive increase in people being pulled out of poverty over the last 20 to 50 years, but that's not getting that reported. The climate's going through the changes it always goes through, and, we're polluting it, but that's not going to bring the world to its knees. It's been through a lot worse than anything we could do to it. Even nuclear war, it will get over that. So we wouldn't, but it would. So here we are right on the edge, and we need to be on the edge and in chaos because that's where creativity thrives. Now, creativity can thrive during peaceful periods, but transformational creativity, um, fresh creativity that's like beyond anything we've done before, thrives in chaos. And chaos doesn't have to be dark and terrible. There's such a thing as light chaos as well. But right at the moment, if you look at the media and, we've got access to what's going on around the world to some degree, you would think the world is in real chaos. And financially, that's happened, and it could happen on a very, very big scale. But the first step is the story was agreed in the early 1990s. It wasn't going to be a disaster movie where everything just falls apart. And that's the end of humanity. And maybe a few of us run off to somewhere else. It's not going to be that. Now, that was an original script decision, right? Now, what we're looking at is what do we do? Because it's not a matter of just going, oh, it's all going to work out. No, it'll work out if we do the work we're here to do. And for that, it really helps if you've got maps of what we're going through. Now, there's a legend that goes back thousands of years, maybe tens of thousands of years, but we know it in the West anyway as the Arthurian legend. Merlin, Arthur, Guinevere, Camelot, the Knights of the Round, the Ladies of the Grail, all that.
Mm-hmm.
That, in terms of the script we're writing now, was a beta test run in southern England 1,500 years ago of what we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
That's the context. Whether it happened or not is irrelevant. In its original form, that legend is the map from a serious committed beta test to deal with what we're going through right now in the world. And maps are really useful if you're going from somewhere you know to somewhere you don't know. Right? A map really helps. I was talking to a friend of mine who takes tours down the Nile River, and she was going to go to a place called Abu Simbel, which is where Ramesses II built some incredible temples and statues into the sides of mountains. And she said, I took it off the schedule, right? Because it's so long. And I went, yeah, but this is a memorial to Ramesses II and his power, but also to his queen. It's like a statement to his lover.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, if I wanted to go there, I'd want to go down there because I want to take the Thai. She's never been out of Thailand, let alone to Egypt and down the Nile.
Mm-hmm.
And into the Great Pyramid in the middle of the night and all that sort of stuff. That'd be just wow.
Yeah.
And she said, well, I took it off the schedule because it's so long. So I went to Google Maps and found out it's 288 kilometres south of Aswan. So that's a 3.5-hour journey both ways. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
To visit the temple for a couple of hours, probably at the same time as vast majority of other people. Okay.
Yeah,
So I said,
true.
well, okay, make it an option, but, I'd still like to go, and you can fly in from somewhere. But the map put the whole thing in perspective. When she said that, I said, no, I'm into relationships and, I really want to go to Abu Simbel and it's like, no, it's 288 and it's 3.5 hours in a car and a bus or whatever. It's just, and it involves going here and here and there. the map, and I could fly in from Cairo. That's an option, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, I've got really practical information and practical options,
Right.
and I can make a great decision on whether that's part of my future. Well, it's the same thing. You can blunder around in the midst of chaos trying to tackle this problem and that problem. But one thing, the Arthurian legend says, look, very clearly, each person has to discover their own unique magic. Each person needs to develop true character. Each woman needs to know she's a source of power. Each man needs to know his strength. Women need to empower men to really do what they truly in their heart want to do. And men, out of gratitude, need to truly support women in their creativity. And that's where we hum together as men and women. You know, all of this, we need to work in small teams and big teams and create communities. All of those maps, we need to access authentic power. We need to have festivals, but what sort and what's the purpose? We need to build community. We need to understand the role magic plays as well as practical, down to earth common sense. All of that is in that map. And rather than stumble around with ideals and theories, banging our heads against the wall, a map like the Arthurian legend, when it's in its original form and truly understood, can save so much time and energy and tell you exactly what your options are, where to focus, and what the things you'd be most interested in tackling, what they are and where they lie. So that's the power of a map.
Right.
And there are many maps out there. Some of them are short term, some of them are for healing, some of them are for this, some of them for that, how to improve your golf swing. But getting hold of maps and great stories that contain those maps is a really important step in moving in the right direction as we deal with this chaos in the world now. Because there's a lot of very crappy stories being shared out there at the moment. Short term, stuck in the past, win lose, zero sum, no good. So
Okay.
if you're watching this, find the stories that really light you up, that show you the way, because those maps and those stories are going to serve you very well over the next years to come.
Excellent. Well, thanks. That was a great synopsis of maps, and you brought up a lot of things to talk about it more in detail. So let's come back and do this again and get into some
Sure,
of
I'd
the
love
other things
to.
we talked about. Awesome. All right.
Yeah,
Well, thank
sure,
you
I'd
very
love to.
much. And you bet. Okay. Thanks a lot. And everybody who's watching this, I hope you really enjoyed it. It's going to be on Christopher's YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. Lots of great things there. I'm a fangirl. Hey, but thanks, Christopher. Okay, bye for now.
Okay, bye.